Hello everyone, welcome back to the Conflict Front Stories channel. Please subscribe and like my videos. Today's report covers a breaking development that has the entire Middle East on edge. The Arab army may be preparing to strike Israel after a top military leader issued a direct order against the IDF, sparking alarm across Washington and putting the U.S. and its allies on high alert. This could be the most serious escalation in years, and we're breaking down every detail as events unfold. In the early morning hours, reports began to surface from multiple regional sources that a high-ranking Arab commander had instructed units along the border to move into a state of combat readiness. Satellite imagery, leaked intelligence documents, and intercepted communications reportedly confirmed unusual troop movements across several front lines from Jordan to southern Lebanon, and even areas near the Golan Heights. Analysts say this is no routine drill. It appears to be a direct military response to recent Israeli operations that killed several key figures in Gaza and southern Syria. Exterior shots showed tanks being repositioned, anti-air defense systems activated, and long columns of armored vehicles moving under the cover of night. The tension is visible. Soldiers check their gear, drones buzz overhead, and the atmosphere feels thick with anticipation. The Arab coalition's command centers are said to be operating at their highest alert level since the 1973 Yom Kippur War, signaling that this is not just political posturing, but a potential prelude to direct confrontation. Inside intelligence circles, the U.S. State Department and Pentagon are reportedly holding emergency meetings. Interior scenes show analysts tracking satellite feeds, reviewing military radar signatures, and trying to determine whether the Arab forces' actions are defensive maneuvers or the opening phase of an offensive operation. American officials are worried that if Israel responds militarily, it could trigger a regional conflict drawing in Iran, Hezbollah, and possibly even Turkey. Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, Israeli defense forces are reinforcing bases and moving Iron Dome batteries into key strategic areas. The IDF spokesperson has confirmed that all options are on the table and warned that any aggression against Israel will be met with overwhelming force. Still, within Israeli political circles, there is growing concern that the country may soon be facing a coordinated multi-front challenge unlike anything seen in decades. On the streets of Cairo, Amman, and Beirut, crowds have gathered in support of the Arab Army's declaration. The mood is electric. Protesters wave flags and chant slogans calling for unity against Israel. Exterior footage shows columns of armored trucks moving through city streets as local citizens cheer them on. Political leaders from several Arab states have called emergency sessions to discuss a unified stance, though it remains unclear whether all nations will commit to open conflict or maintain political and economic pressure instead. Inside diplomatic rooms, tension is high. UN envoys are urgently calling for restraint, while backchannel talks are being held between Western and Arab diplomats. The United States has sent direct messages urging regional governments to avoid escalation, warning that a full-scale war could destabilize global energy supplies and worsen an already fragile humanitarian crisis. In Washington, Pentagon sources describe the situation as deeply concerning. Satellite imagery shows movement of U.S. naval assets closer to the eastern Mediterranean, with carrier groups positioned to deter any large-scale conflict. Interior defense briefings emphasize deterrence, but also preparation for rapid intervention if U.S. allies come under attack. The White House has confirmed that President Biden has been briefed hourly on the situation, and discussions about emergency sanctions or peace envoys are already underway. Exterior scenes across the region show skies filled with patrol aircraft and radar sweeps lighting up command center screens. Reports from Lebanon suggest Hezbollah units are mobilizing along the southern border, while in Iraq and Syria, Iran-backed militias have been placed on stand-by. Israeli surveillance drones are capturing these movements in real time, transmitting data back to IDF intelligence divisions for analysis. The entire region feels like a ticking clock counting down toward confrontation. Inside war rooms, senior commanders discuss strategy maps spread across glowing tables. One Arab general reportedly stated that the era of silence is over, vowing that any new Israeli aggression would be met with the full strength of the Arab nations. His words were broadcast across regional television, sparking cheers and renewed calls for unity among Arab populations. Still, not every government shares the same level of enthusiasm. Some Arab states are quietly advising caution, aware that direct confrontation with Israel could invite massive retaliation and international backlash. In Tel Aviv, Israeli citizens rush to stock up on supplies, while emergency alerts flash across TV networks. Exterior shots show long lines at gas stations and supermarkets. Schools are moving classes online, and city shelters are being prepared. The sense of fear is spreading as rumors swirl of a coordinated Arab assault within days. Yet, Israeli officials insist the nation is fully prepared, relying on superior air defense and intelligence to counter any potential attack. Inside Israeli command centers, IDF officers are reviewing new contingency plans. They believe that if an Arab coalition launches an attack, it will likely begin with missile strikes and drone swarms targeting border bases. Israel's Air Force remains on full alert, with fighter jets ready to respond instantly. The possibility of cyber warfare is also being discussed, as both sides possess advanced hacking capabilities that could disrupt communication systems or critical infrastructure. As day turns to night, exterior footage captures the eerie quiet before potential conflict. Military convoys vanish into the desert, their headlights disappearing over the horizon. The air feels charged with tension, a silent countdown to what could become the largest Middle Eastern conflict of the decade. Civilians in border towns brace for uncertainty, praying that diplomacy will prevail. Inside homes, families huddle together, watching live broadcasts. Mothers hold their children close while men scroll through social media updates. No one knows what the morning will bring: peace talks or the roar of fighter jets overhead. The psychological pressure across both sides is immense, with the fear of escalation now spreading worldwide. Internationally, leaders are scrambling to find a way to prevent the crisis from spiraling out of control. The European Union has urged de-escalation, while China and Russia have issued statements calling for restraint but criticizing U.S. intervention. Global oil prices have already spiked, and humanitarian organizations warn of potential refugee movements if the conflict ignites. Exterior satellite images show a region divided but preparing for war. The glow of military camps, the movement of aircraft, and the hidden power of long-range missile systems all form a dangerous web of tension stretching across the Middle East. The Arab army's leadership remains firm in its statement that Israel's continued aggression will no longer go unanswered. Inside the Conflict Front Stories newsroom, we continue monitoring every update and communication. The world is watching as history balances on a knife's edge. One command, one strike, one misunderstanding could change the course of the region forever. This is a moment that defines alliances, power, and survival. Whether it ends in diplomacy or disaster depends on what happens in the next few days. For now, all eyes remain fixed on the Middle East, waiting, watching, and hoping that reason triumphs over retaliation. Thank you for watching Conflict Front Stories. Stay tuned for our next update as this developing situation unfolds. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real-time analysis of global conflicts and military intelligence.